I've a Penn Fierce II 6,000 reel that I use for pompano fishing, and it's been grinding and acting up. And I've sprayed water, lightly misted it, but I don't know how it's got some sand in there. I don't recall dropping it in, but anyway, I went ahead and replaced the bearing. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it apart, show you how it's not that difficult to do. Where do you get your parts for your Penn Fierce? Let's go mysticparts.com. Go to Penn Parts, spinning reel, Penn Fierce II. I got the 6,000. Let's click on that and let's go to the schematic. Okay, so here we go. Here's the parts list for the Fierce II 6,000. I need to get this bearing right there, this bearing right there, that one right there, that one right there. See, it's number 20, and down below it's the ball bearings. It says right there there's 4 required. And then I also need to get this anti-reversing thing, and see it says 98C. Let's go down to 98C, and they call it clutch sleeve assembly. So I just need to get one of those. Pretty much that's it. So I ordered those and they came in the mail. Another big shout out to mysticparts.com. I just can't say how awesome they were. I got all these parts, the one throwout, the anti-reversing bearing, and the 4 bearings for $3.35 a piece, $4.50 the other, $5 for shipping, a total of $23.05, and I've got a brand new reel. Love them.
Here's the reel. It's loose.
Here we go. There's the reel. In a little bit I'll show you the parts. So the big thing is to set everything in a neat, orderly area. Don't throw it all over the place. I've seen some people work on it and they got their parts all over the place. Drives me nuts. Maybe it's the... See the little clear washer? This isn't a sealed system, but they do their best they can to try and seal them. So notice that the seal is gone. It didn't come off, but there it is. Keep this screw seated in there. If you can see how I'm stacking everything nice and neat and clean. Take this off. Pops that off. I'll put that up there. Here's your first bearing right here. There's 4 total. There's 1 bearing. I'm going to put that up there. Next you would do is spin this. So this shaft is going to seat down as low as it can go, and it's going to expose those 2 screws. I just want to show you the process. And here's your other bearing that would sit below that. What I missed telling you though was when this gear came out, there are 2 actually 3 washers that sit like that. The silver, the 2 brass are on each side, and then there's the stainless one that rides in the middle. So if you were to take this all apart and boil it like some people do, which I think is a little overkill, remember which order they go in.
Let's see. Next we'll go up here.
Remember which hole that went in? It went into that hole. So let's take this guy, we'll set him up there. And we'll set that little bolt up there. Nice, neat, clean, and orderly. That's what we're looking for. That's just barely on there. If you tighten it down too much, you'll crush the bearings. And here we go, we have it apart. Just wanted to show you that there is a little washer that drops in there, that sort of key to keep that in order. I'm going to set that over there. We'll go over some other stuff. This thing, let's just pull this off. Right here, we'll set him there. Let's see. This assembly just comes off. You don't have to take that spring out. And then we got a couple more bearings.
Remember, we got the one bearing that sat in there. There's another bearing that sat underneath that cog, and then there's a couple more in here, plus the anti-reversing gear bearing, whatever you want to call it. That comes out right there, and that, it normally doesn't pop out quite that easy, so I had to grab a pair of pliers and pull that out, but this came out. I want to show you that this is the housing. I'll set that there, and this is where your bearings are on this shaft. Just push that out, pop that out. That's your anti-reverse gear, and here's another bearing that comes out. So we've got the whole thing apart. Let's see. I didn't take this apart because there's no need to. There's another spring in there. You could take a you know, Q-tip and get in there, clean it all out. This had a whole bunch of dirt and whatnot, and you just sort of wipe all that excess junk out. You can see it's got nice green, the blue-green Penn grease that I put in there. When I took it apart, this gear right here was sitting down there. There was some other brown grease in there, so I'm gonna sort of just clean this out a little bit. Don't go slopping a whole bunch in there. The worst thing to do is the guy that always rebuilds his reel every other week, and it's loaded full of grease, and it's given to you, and it's a big smudge of grease, whatever, in your hand. It's not good. Anyway, so let's go ahead and put this back together. That bearing just should pop out of there. So we've got bearings 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're all the same size. I think they're 9 millimeter in the center. Then it's 17 millimeter across, and the thickness is 5 millimeter. This is a part number 20. My friends over at Mystic Parts were just awesome. Their website's got a complete blueprint of your reel, and you know, they sent me my parts. So the new four bearings and everything sold to me, including shipping, was $23. So if you ever see one of these reels for sale in yard and they're just garbage and they're making a lot of racket, buy it for $5 and then another $23, including shipping, for your bearings. And guess what? You've got a very nice reel. I've caught a ton of pompano with this, and this is my go-to reel because it's just so doggone durable. I just love it. It's an affordable reel, you know, under $100, brand new. But anyway, for those looking to save a buck, that's what I'd say to do. Anyway, so how do we put it back together? So let's go ahead and put the bearings back on. Even if you didn't want to rebuild it and send out for that stuff. These are the bearings that you'll hear where it's grinding and making noise. But some of these, I'm going to take this little syringe. You can see there's barely any in there. So I'm going to squeeze it out, and you'll see a little bead form at the tip of, and see it right there? 1 drop. That's all you need. Don't go crazy with it. Give it a good spin. Good to go. Next is this anti-reversing set, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but anyway, same thing. Get a little bead and 1 little droplet on each one of those little rollers. I'm not sure if you can if the camera's picking that up. Tiny little bit of oil. Don't go slopping it crazy. So there's that. And so this is the sleeve that goes in it. It just drops in. There's the white side and the silver side. The white side faces down to the bearing, just like that. Next we have this bearing. This is a brand new one. I'll just show you what I would do if I got a reel and it was grinding and it was making some noise, and I'd take that and run it around. These are brand new and buttery smooth. This is the race that holds it in place. That drops in there. If you'll notice, that little silver lip is sticking out right there. Well, there's a little lip down there that sticks up too as well. So that just sort of fits down and forces it down, and that's it. And so we got the whole assembly together. Let's put it back in there. Drops right in place. You'll see that it's nice and flush with the top. I'm going to go ahead and put this nothing more than that. Let's see, let's grab this guy right here. He drops in right there. This guy right here, there's a little key that drops down from the flat surface. That rides down like that. This little hole runs inside that. You can see that piece of spring sticking up. Let's see, so we got to push that guy over just a tad bit. And it sits right in there, and pretty much that's it. Let's see. Next we'll go this guy, and this just drops. Let's put this nut back on there. Remember, when you tighten this down, don't go too much. Sorry about the fan in the background, it's a little warm. And it spins that direction. It won't.
If you don't have that anti-reversing gear in the right position, it won't roll backwards. So there you go, just barely snug on there. You don't want a whole lot of slop in there, and you don't want it definitely too tight. You'll crush the bearings.
Grease. Let's leave my little paddle in there. Just a little bit, tiny bit like that. Smear it around, because that's what's going to ride up and down. Somebody called it the oscillating shaft, which was a good name. Anyway, so let's put it back together. First goes the bearing. This, I wish there was a bearing that rode inside of this, because it just sits on this part of the housing and there's nothing there to come off. So if that part goes bad, you need a new reel. So a little dab in there. Let's drop this. Let's leave this cog with the little drive mechanism sticking out. I'll put a little grease in there.
Now put a little dab. What is that, 120 degrees part? Yeah, you can do it. You can do it like that if you want, whatever floats your boat. Remember, don't lose those washers in there either. Drop that down in there.
Keep wiping your hand. That grease is nasty. Sometimes I wear gloves, but whatever. Here is the cog. I call it the cog. Anyway, the thing that rides on the cog, but Normally that has no grease and it's worn out, it's melted out, and you just put a little dab on that side, a little dab in there. Actually, you can smear it all around. Hey, it's a party, you know what I'm saying? There you go. And then this fits in there, kind of like that. And now this track rides like that is sitting on that wheel, that little knob thing sticking out there. And so let's get our screws and let's do this. So number one is that, put that screw back there. So now the shaft just slides in there, and you see it's got to slide into that hole, wiggle it back and forth, and there it goes. It's in place. So now you have these little screws, and sometimes they keep falling off. What you could do is take the tip of your screwdriver, put a little grease on there, and they don't fall off. Let's see. We got enough grease in there, but I'm going to put one more big goober right in there. I want it riding on that bearing. Let's take this. There's your bearings. Let's put, you could put that guy on there just like that. This guy drops right in like that. And let's do the whole lube process. Got one little drop of oil. Okay, maybe two. There's one there. You see the little bead of oil? That's a pretty good size one. Good drop there. Good drop there. One there. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Now there's some grease in there. Go to the lowest point, and that's where it should stop. Because dirt can get in there, so I'm going to wipe out a little bit of that. And that's actually not where the grease gets, or the dirt gets in. This is where the dirt gets in. If you spray, if water comes up and hits in there, or you drop it in the sand and water happens to get in there, it'll get in underneath there. And don't spray water up in there. That's not good. And there we go. You put a little grease in there, just buttery smooth. That's what I'm talking about. Real magic.
Real magic goes on wet like WD-40 but dries to the touch.
Light coating of that is pure silicone. And that's it. Ta-da!